In this video, I would like to show you how to use Microsoft Excel to compute several simple moving averages, very similar to what we covered yesterday in class, only this time we'll use Microsoft Excel to make our work just a little bit easier. Now, in order to begin this process, you do need to have a Microsoft Excel workbook open, and if you're not sure where to find that on your computer, go to the Start menu, find the Microsoft Office folder, and select Microsoft Excel from there. And you should instruct the computer to open up a blank workbook. It'll look something like this. As you recall from yesterday, we had a series of closing prices for particular companies, and we used a simple moving average to smooth out those erratic data points. So we're going to look at problems 6 through 9 in this video today, and I want you to complete the same examples on your own workbook. So that means pausing and replaying parts of this video as we go along in case you need to do that. Once you get the hang of the work, you might be able to submit this on your own without watching the rest of the video. But this does need to be submitted today electronically through the Dropbox section of Angel Day 65. The first thing that we need to do is enter the information from the problem into the workbook. So I'm going to adjust this window here and see if I can get the textbook and my Excel document side by side. I think this will work just fine. In cell A1, I'm going to write the letters TM because that's the stock ticker symbol for Toyota Motor Corporation. And then in box 2, column A, I'm going to write the words day 1, then day 2, and then day 3. I'm pressing the enter button in between each time that I type this. Now, the nice thing about Excel is once you start a pattern of information, you can actually highlight that. Notice I'm using this cursor with the white crosshairs, if you will, the open boxed crosshairs. I'm clicking right in the middle of the cell that says day 1, and now I'm dragging down to day 3. And so I have those 3 days highlighted. Now, when I move my cursor, I'm no longer holding the button down, but when I move my cursor to the bottom right-hand corner, that crosshairs turns to this dark black crosshairs. That's called the fill handle, and we can click now and drag this handle down. And you'll notice there's a little bit of a preview showing us what the fill handle is going to do to those cells. Now, the instructions in the textbook said that we have a 10-day simple a 10 consecutive days worth of data in the Toyota Motor Corporation. So I'm going to drag this down until it fills out day 10. Now I'm going to jump back in here in column B next to day 1, and I'm going to type 101.96 because that's the closing price for Toyota on day 1. For day 2, we'll write 101.80 and continue down this list. Okay, so I have all of the data entered. If you're not done with yours yet, then please pause the video and finish filling out your workbook. When you're ready to continue, what we're going to do is take a look at this, the first 2 numbers here, right? Because in problem number 9, it's asking us to calculate a 2-day simple moving average. So following our instruction yesterday, a 2-day moving average means we're going to look at the first 2 days average, then we're going to look at the next 2 days, and the next 2 days, and so on. We're going to be grouping, in this case, by 2 days at a time. What I'd like to do is find the average for these 2 numbers. Now, if your computer is set up like mine is, the average automatically calculates when you highlight some information. For example, if I want the average of these first 3 days, Excel automatically calculates down here in the bottom corner, bottom left-hand corner. And that's helpful, but that's not necessarily what we're going to use the program for. What we're actually going to do is jump to the right, just to the right of where the the end of that simple moving average is going to occur. And inside here, we're going to type a command to have Excel compute this moving average for us. And the command is really easy. We'll type an equals sign and then write the word average. After the word average, we open a set of parentheses. Now we do this so that we can select data that we need to compute the average of. And so with my cursor, it stays right here after this open parentheses. I'm now going to click and highlight these first 2 days. If you've set up your workbook just like mine, then the phrase would be equals average parentheses B2 colon B3. Then we can close our parentheses and press enter. You'll notice that the average number that's calculated here came from the average command, but it's the exact same number that we got when these first 2 cells were highlighted. And you can see that here. The average of the selected cells was 101.88, and now this command says 101.88. Now, as I said a few moments ago, the nice thing about Excel is once it has a pattern to work with, it can repeat those calculations, or it can repeat that data very quickly and easily. So I'm going to move my cursor again to the bottom right-hand corner of that cell that we just wrote the average command in. I'm going to click that bottom right-hand corner, and with this fill handle, I'm going to drag it down to the bottom of day 10. And here we have the simple moving average, 2-day simple moving average for each of the remaining data points. If we were to click in any of these boxes, you can see that this box here was the average of the 2 days prior, and this box here is 2 days prior. This box here is 2 days prior. That's exactly what a 2-day moving average does for us, is it calculates the average of the 2 days prior to this, and it gives us some information that will smooth our graph. We could take this information now and plot that data, but I'll leave that to another time. Now you may notice that your information may or may not contain the dollar symbols here. I just realized that mine automatically came on. In case yours doesn't do that, let me show you how you can turn that on. With the information highlighted, with your data highlighted, you can click in this Home tab. Make sure you're on the Home tab here. There's a number group. Inside the number group, this drop-down option lets you set the different styles for those cells. And right now my computer is set to currency. You could also choose accounting, but likely yours was originally set up to be in this general format, and it contains all these extra data points. There's nothing wrong with either setting for now. I'll leave mine at currency. So I'm going to scroll down. This was problem number 6. I'm going to scroll down and leave a couple spaces, and I'm going to try working on problem number 7 now. I'm going to do this one a little bit more quickly so that you can see just how efficient Microsoft Excel can be. In this next example, we are going to be computing a 3-day simple moving average for Procter & Gamble. So I'm going to type the letters PG. That's the name for Procter & Gamble. And again, I'll start typing day 1, day 2, and maybe even day 3. Highlight those numbers, click and drag the fill handle down so that we have 10 days of data available to us here. I'll start typing in the information from the textbook. And I've got all 10 days worth of data now entered here. Since this is a 3-day simple moving average, I'm going to look at the first 3 days of information before my first average is calculated. So at the end of the first 3 days, in the right-hand column, this is where I will type my average command. Again, this is a 3-day simple moving average, so I can't compute the averages until 3 days have passed. This time, the average computes from the first three pieces of data, so I'll click and highlight those three. If you've set up your workbook like mine, it'll say average B15 to B17. Close the parentheses and press enter. And now I'll click and drag to fill this formula down below. Again, these numbers, to me, I think would look better as currency. So I'm going to highlight them in the number group. I'm going to change them from general numbers to currency. And now I have the dollar amounts listed. This is our 3-day simple moving average. So maybe I'll write myself a note here. This is the 3-day simple moving average. And this one up here was our 2-day simple moving average. Let's try example number 8. In problem 8, we will be computing a 4-day simple moving average for the International Business Machines Corporation. Now that's IBM, in case you didn't know, IBM, the computer company. So we'll start with IBM, and we'll fill in the days, day 1, day 2. Let me get this style the same way, day 1, day 2, day 3. And I will copy this information. I'll fill it down until we fill up day 10. Now I'll slide this over, and I'm actually going to pause the video. You don't need to watch me typing this information in, but I'll be filling in the information from problem number 8 next to the days for IBM now. And with that information filled in, since this is a 4-day simple moving average, I'm going to go to the bottom of the 4th day, and next to that type my average command. So we need to find the average of the first 4 days of data. Press enter. With that calculation in place, I can click the bottom right hand corner of that box, fill it down for the next few rows. I'm going to adjust the number here to be currency style, and now I have my 4-day simple moving average. And this is a good simple moving average data for the 10 days according to the IBM stock values. Last one. For problem number 9, we are going to complete a 6-day simple moving average for the Rite-Aid company. So this Rite-Aid company is known as RAD on the New York Stock Exchange, and we again need 10 days worth of data. So we've got day 1, day 2, day 3. Highlight those 3 days, fill them down to day 10, and again I'm going to pause the video while I copy their values from day to day. And there we have it. The data for the 10 days of information for the Rite-Aid company have been found. Now, since this is a 6-day simple moving average, I'm going to go to the bottom of the 6th day, and on the right side of that I'll type my average command equals average, use a set of parentheses and highlight those first 6 days worth of data. I can close the parentheses and then press enter, and I now have my simple moving average for the first 6 days. By copying this down, I'll get the next 6 days, the next, and finally the last 6 days in the group. Again, if you didn't notice this before, the final calculation computes the 6 days average between day 5 and day 10. The second to last number computes the average between day 4 to day 9, and so on. The group of 6 days keeps moving along. That's why we call this a moving average. Now I'm going to put this information back into currency status, or back into a currency style, and I'll leave that as it is. So we've got a nice simple workbook that contains our simple moving averages for 4 stocks. The 2-day, the 3-day, the 4-day, and now a 6-day simple moving average. What I'd like for you to do is make sure that you click Save on your document. Save it to your desktop or save it to one of your documents. You must press Save before you upload this to me in Angel. So please do that now. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them tomorrow. But I think the video was pretty self-explanatory. I'd like for you to repeat everything that we've done in this video in your own your own Excel document. Get that uploaded to me before you leave today.